Thank you for tuning in to part 2 of our message entitled, Why Can't You Be Just Like Me? We're talking about calorics today as we continue the review and then look at the strengths of being a caloric. So join me as we continue our message.
So to review, we've gone over 8 characteristics of temperament, and they're grouped in fours or pairs to figure out who we are. And if you were to take a test, it would break it down. The first is your source of emotional energy. All right, we're frozen. So just let me know. The source of emotional energy, you're an introvert or an extrovert. You're either one who is driven by experiences or you're driven by ideas. The second is your source of information gathering, whether you're sensing or sensible or you're an innovator. The third is your style of decision making. Are you a thinker or are you a feeler? And then lastly, your strategy for living. Are you judging or perceiving? Judging is just do it. Perceiving is just wing it. And so when you put those all together, they help us figure out who we are in our temperaments. Now, I'm going to give you like the big, long, fancy words that they use for the temperaments, but I'm also going to link them to color. Now, of course, because of our computer issues up here, I had them rooted in color. And so it would have been great, which if I can talk fast enough but slow enough, you'll be able to see this up here in just a few minutes. So the first is the sensing, judging person. That's the melancholy person. And that person craves structure. The second person, and the first two are lean in the introvert side of things, is the innovator and the feeler. They're called phlegmatic. And they're green. And they crave significance. The extrovert, who's an SP, a sensing, perceiving person, is a sanguine. They crave spontaneity. And then today we're going to dive into the extrovert, who's an NT, an innovator and a thinker. They're red, and they're the caloric, and they crave skillfulness. And so as you look at these temperaments, they each have a song that I came up with. I didn't come up with the songs. I didn't write the songs. I found the songs. And each week we're going to come with you, help you understand who these people are. So the first song is the melancholy person, and the song is called It's My Party, and I'll Cry If I Want to. Because that's what a melancholy person would do. You're at the party, everyone's having a great time, and if she wants to, she can cry because her emotions are up and down. The phlegmatic, the one who is like the buddy, the person who wants to have lots of friends. The phlegmatic's favorite song is the theme song for Cheers, because when you walk in, everybody knows your name. And he knows their names. The sanguine, the one who loves to live out there, who wants to just wing it, who wants to ride with the wind blowing through their hair, is the song Born to Be Wild. Which again, I would love to sing that song for you, but you don't want me to. And then the caloric, as we're going to dive in today, Frank Sinatra sang about it the best. He did it, or he does it my way. So, as we dive into the caloric person, the red person, the NT, the innovator, and the thinker makes up about 5 to 7% of the people. I'd encourage you to take a test. I'll post a couple links on the website during this week. The other thing I also want to do is, as I've mentioned, there are blends. So you might be a caloric and a melancholy person, or a caloric and a sanguine. And we're going to talk about blends during the week as well. The caloric is not well liked until they're dead. And when you think about these people, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Dwight Eisenhower, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Michael Jordan, all these people are caloric. They are hard driving. They are strivers and drivers. They are highly motivated. They are goal-setting individuals. They'll sit down and they'll say, I can't imagine my life without a goal that I need to accomplish. There can't be an hour or a minute that goes by with I don't have a goal. They are tenacious and persistent. They succeed in business not because of their skill, but because they are relentless. They always keep their eye on the goal. And the person that comes to mind in the scriptures that is a choleric is the Apostle Paul. And if you read through the book of Philippians, there's several verses we're going to highlight that bring out his choleric nature. Chapter 3, verses 13 and 14 says this, "Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus." And when a choleric hears that verse or reads that verse, they go, yeah, I press toward the goal. I go for the goal. Doesn't matter what else is happening around me. That's what I'm going for. They thrive on activity. They don't know how to relax. Everything is work. Work is work. Play is work. Because they're driven to succeed. They must do everything better and faster and longer. If they read a book, they're going to read their next book faster. If they're going to swim laps, they're going to swim laps longer. If they're going to lose, they're going to replay the tapes over and over in their head. They also have a compulsion for competence. If they can't do it well, they simply won't do it. The goal is perfection. Anything else is failure. They would say, I will never let that happen again. By nature, they evaluate everything by various levels of competence. So if you criticize them, they're going to look at your competence before they listen to anything you say. They are natural-born leaders. They're either generals and leaders, or they're criminals and crime lords. There's nothing in between. They're optimistic because they don't think there's any challenge that's too great for them. The greater the challenge, the more they're up for it. If you're not the lead dog, the view never changes, was probably written by a choleric. Their motto, I am the leader and follow me, or get out of the way. So they usually have a strong opinion about them. Either they have a lot of followers, or they have a lot of haters. Another strength is they're strong-willed. They thrive on opposition. The more you oppose them, the more tenacious they become. They are not discouraged by adversaries. They're not discouraged by adversaries. They're just more motivated to work and that much harder. Philippians chapter 1, verse 28, Paul brings this out. He says, without being frightened in any way by those who oppose you, this is a sign to them that they will be destroyed, but that you will be saved, and that by God. So here Paul's saying, you know what? Those people that are coming after you, they're going to be destroyed because God's going to do that, but it's because of your following me. They don't care about what others think about themselves, about them. They also have a passion for the practical. Unless it's very practical, they're going to throw it out. That doesn't really mean or make a lot of difference in my life. In our lives, in our family, we have one choleric, and I know that he's tempered with another secondary temperament. But when I think about one of our children, person's really strong-willed. He's a leader. He was growing up, he would want to lead. A lot of times he had no followers, but he wanted to lead. He was self-disciplined. He would strive to do the best at his favorite sports.